everybody. Good morning. How are you? My name is Karen. I help people explore their joy so they can increase their joy in all aspects of life. So, how are you? And let's be joyful. So, today I was thinking back on my own past when I was in college. And like many, I don't think I was unique here. I wasn't so happy. For a variety of reasons, that is true. But I think mostly, I remember my mother telling me prior to college, junior high school, oh, someday you'll go to college and it'll be great. And I'm so proud of you. And she was. And she totally was. Because she never went to college. I think she went to business college. That's what they called the back in her day. Folks really didn't do a 4-year program like we do now. It wasn't expected. I suspect it certainly wasn't expected for girls. But none of my, with the exception of one uncle who went into a profession, none of my uncles had 4 years of college. They may have gone to trade schools or stuff like that, but they never did what we do because now it's pretty much expected, right? That, we go to high school, we go to junior high school, we go to high school, we go to college. That's a given. And I don't think that was true back in my parents' generation. So she was really proud, and she was looking forward to the day that I went to college, that I got accepted to college, and my parents were very proud. And I went to college, and I wasn't happy. And looking back, I could see why I wasn't. Back then, I had no clue. All I knew was that I wasn't happy. Has that ever happened to anybody? That you're just not happy and have no clue why? So I went on a search. That's actually been a lifetime search. And I've increased my joy exponentially over time. It's clearly taken many years. Things like this don't happen overnight, but they do happen incrementally. So in pretty short order, within the space of, I don't know, a couple of years, I started feeling happier. I started feeling more joy. And over time, as things are better on the external, because that's mostly how we decide how happy or sad or angry or whatever we are. We usually decide from the outside in as opposed to the inside out. So over time, depending on what, I got a job, I felt more joy. I lost a job, I less joy. The job was working out, more joy. The job wasn't working out, less joy. I had a fight with somebody, less joy. We made up, more joy. Life, right? Life. That's what we do in life. That's how we live our life. But I was always still searching because I knew that joy is our birthright. It just is. It's what we're born with. Happiness, joy, love, all of those things are our birthright. So I read books, I listened to tapes and whatever. And I'm still searching. Searching's not quite the right word. I'm still growing. I'm still exploring, which is why I'm in this space. And why I say every morning that I help people, myself included, to explore their joy, to increase their joy. because it's what I'm doing in my life. And I like folks to come along with me. I get lonely. So my question to you is, how important is joy? Is it important to you? I know many people who, when I say that to them, if I should say that to them, they'd look at me like I had 3 heads. It's okay. Joy's not important to them, because if it was, they'd search it out. Because you're here with me in this space, clearly it is important to you. Or if it isn't number 1 on your list, it's pretty close. Remember I spoke about core values? If joy isn't your top core value, and it's not, by the way, it's not my top core value, by the way. I've said this before, honesty, integrity, and humor are my top 3, by the way. Joy is number 4. So even if joy is not number 1, like it's not for me, where is it on your list of core values? How high or how low is it? You know, we get, where's my camera? We get the full gamut of human values to choose from. What are your core values? Where does joy fall in that, and how important is it to you? Do you read books looking at joy? Do you do meditations to increase your joy? I've spoken about this a couple of times. I'm now doing a meditation every single morning. I started this a few months ago, regularly, every morning, like clockwork. You could set the clock by it. I'm doing a meditation that just brings me so much joy. When I was regularly taking yoga at the yoga studio that I taught at, we would refer to that feeling as being blissed out. I get blissed out from this meditation. And I find it just so helpful in the course of my day. And by the way, if anyone is curious about what meditation I'm talking about, let me know and I'll get it to you. But that issue, the meditation aside, how important is joy to you? How important? Do you think about it during the day? Do you say, I'm joyful, I'm not joyful, this is bringing me joy, that's not bringing me joy? I'll do things that will bring me joy. I'll try to limit, because we can't get rid of, I'll try to limit people who would say, no, I don't do anything that doesn't bring me joy. If it doesn't bring me joy, I just don't do it. I get that, and that's a goal I aspire toward, but I live in my practical world, and in my practical world, sometimes you just got to do things that don't bring you joy, but you figure out how you can find joy in them. So with the boss, with the coworkers, with the obnoxious neighbor, maybe find ways to be joyful in that situation. And we can brainstorm ways to do that if that's something that's interesting to you. Again, how important is joy to you in your day-to-day life? Now, I know, because I know that you experience joy just because. Do you recognize it? I didn't. For many years, I didn't recognize that I felt joyful. I was labeling it something else. But looking back, yeah, for sure, there was joy there. Again, it's our birthright. We're born with it. We're wired for it. We just might not recognize it. Do you recognize when you're feeling joy? Because if you can recognize it, here's a tip for you. The more you can recognize it in your life, the more it will grow. It was true for me. The moment I started recognizing those moments throughout my day, week, month that I was in joy, it just opened up and just allowed for that much more. Very cool, right? It's like love. The more you give it away, the more you have. Yeah. Joy, love, happiness, they're all kind of under the same umbrella, if you will. What do you think? How important is joy to you? Are you willing to explore it? Are you willing to kind of go into those areas that feel a little uncharted? You know, if you know what I mean, and I'm not talking physically. Never put yourself in an unsafe situation physically, but are you willing, at least in your own mind, to think about things that might not be so pleasant in your exploration or not? I mean, if that's something that you can't do, that it's beyond you, don't. And certainly don't do it by yourself. You might need to be in the presence of a professional if that's something that you choose to do. I would never recommend anything to, actually, I would never recommend anything to anybody. Whatever I say is suggestions, stuff from my own life. So if you're thinking about, oh, gee, maybe it would be a good idea to kind of explore those darker things, you might actually want to do it in the presence of a professional, because we don't want to put ourselves into a negative situation ever, because that's not joyful. That's also not smart. So be smart, be safe, be curious. I'm curious. It's one of my values also. Are you curious? These are all questions to ponder. These are not prescriptive. I'm not saying to do anything, but these are just things to kind of think about, going, oh, I never quite thought of it that way. So I will leave you with all that, because I like to keep these things pretty short. If you found value in what I said, feel free to pass it on. If you are not yet on my newsletter, please hop on over to KarenBromberg.com and sign on to my newsletter. And I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.